Welcome to Kings of Kimuras.
All right, guys. Welcome to another episode of Kings of Kimura. We're in our private new VIP studio.
Don't ask about the couch, dude.
Yeah,
This is an old couch.
Nobody knows where this is at. It's an undisclosed location. But you can see we put a lot of effort in. We built this brick wall behind us.
By hand, scratch.
Made the furniture ourselves as well. Yeah, it's cool to finally have this set up. It should be more efficient. Hopefully, where
In
we can get these
theory.
out, more often. But let's talk about the Fight Pass last night. There were some pretty good matches on that. Obviously, the main event was
Stole the show, man.
Victor Hugo.
stole the show.
He did great. I feel like we were kind of talking about that earlier about what do you think happened in that? It was
Yeah, I just think Victor has a bad style for Nikki.
Mhm.
He's obviously got sick jiu-jitsu, and he showed that he can hang on the feet too. He used that Uchimata really well, and Nikki I feel like his training partners at B team are not that size and that technical. So when you get a guy like that, it's a pretty tough style matchup for him. I think even a Kainan Duarte is a bad style matchup for him too, because those guys are so technical that yes, they're not on his level in terms of wrestling, but they're not really using wrestling, right? They're using the entire game.
Yeah.
And so those two guys I think have probably the worst style for him. So he's gonna struggle with those
Well,
guys.
there was even that one point where Nikki gets the underhook and Victor just jumps guard on him. How many guys that are 280 are gonna jump close guard on you?
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things that's unexpected too, right?
Yeah.
You're not really prepared for that, because usually in training, right, things like jumping close guard are not allowed anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it's if you know a guy's maybe gonna jump guard on you, stay away from the underhook, because it's kind of committing you into that position.
Yeah,
don't know.
it does make it difficult to do anything. And really what set up the end sequence was that underhook. Victor kind of played that loose overhook game, and when Nikki tried to jack the underhook to kind of throw by and get behind or to the body lock, Victor switched off and perfect Uchimata, right?
Nice Uchi, yeah. I mean, that you can tell they've been working that a lot. I've seen
Mhm.
Lovato over in California with J Flow.
Yeah.
So he's taking that stuff back to those guys.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously it's just gonna make everybody around them better.
Yeah, it was the perfect counter, really. You look at it how he was playing that style. It was just, and he's a super tall guy. I've tried to Uchimata guys that are taller than me, and it's very, very difficult to get their hips lower than mine. you know?
Yeah, I have to in the instances I do go against somebody who's taller, I always just try to play the inside space. Almost
Yeah.
I'm thinking the small guy now.
Mhm.
If I know where I struggle the most is when smaller, more compact opponents get the inside space on me.
Yeah.
If it's somebody my size or a bit taller, then I want to be the one dominating the inside space.
Mhm.
It's just so much harder on a smaller guy or somebody who's a little more compact to get to that inside space from anywhere. Standing,
Mhm.
when you're passing their guard, they're just not giving you really any inside position. So
Yeah.
I try to think like a little guy when I'm going against a big, tall,
Mhm.
Heisam Rita. I'm first I'm shelling up to defend myself. Then I'm all right,
Well,
let's try to get inside.
I mean, you
here.
described it perfectly in the sense of if you roll with people smaller than you and you see what kind of game that they play that gives you difficulty, you can apply that upward, right? You can scale that up in size,
Absolutely. And I think it's important to also train with a wide array of body types. That's why it's probably hard for these bigger guys to find good partners, because it's first there's so few people who are even that size, period.
Yeah.
And then that size and also high level jiu-jitsu,
Mhm.
that's it's even more rare, you know.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are big, but not necessarily like as technical, right?
Yeah,
you know, and that's
for
something
sure.
that I feel like you only kind of develop as a jiu-jitsu athlete that trains as maybe like a child or something. You know, or even like starting in like, you know, early teens would be a good example of that. But I feel like once you're in your like mid 20s, it's going to be very difficult to learn those super basic fundamental skills of like working off the bottom, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And you could have like some success because, like I said, the pool is just so much smaller. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you look at ADCC, it's like 66 is stacked, 77 stacked, 88. You get to minus 99, pretty stacked still, but then like plus 99, there's
Yeah.
just so few guys who are that high level. And,
Yeah.
like the pool is much smaller, and you see a lot of like different competitors every year, like guys who you've like maybe never heard of before.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a little more rare at like 77, 88. Usually it's like the guys who are more on the upward trajectory. They don't just like get there because the pool is smaller. They
Yeah.
like have to grind their way up that ladder.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the prime example of you know, ADCC West Coast trials last time, or was it East Coast, where Mike Perez won?
That
You
was West Coast.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
and
beat Big Dan in the finals, I think.
And he's done like, you know, what, probably like 77 or 88 at least, right?
Yeah,
You know?
88 I think
Yeah.
would probably be his
Ideal. Yeah. And obviously, you know, when he went to like ADCC Worlds, it was clear like he shouldn't be in that weight class, right? You know,
For sure.
Like
Yeah.
I don't remember his first match, but he went out I think first round. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing with like a guy like Paul Ardilla.
Yeah.
He does minus 99, and
Mhm.
he ran into Declan first round. And
Mhm.
I know you've rolled with Declan. I've definitely spent some time rolling with Declan, and I feel like I can't get anything going. He's so dense and heavy and strong.
Yeah. He definitely feels like he's made of steel or something. You know? You're like trying to manipulate him, and yeah, I need to make it down more often to train at B team. I feel like my biggest issue is like riding in the car for that long, or like driving. You know, maybe if I was like riding or something, somebody else drove me, it'd be different. But dude, driving down there and then training right away I just never feel good. You know?
Yeah, for sure. It's I have to spend a little time warming up and stretching out my body because you're sitting for pretty much 4 hours, give or take, just like this. So you have to like stretch out and like get your range of motion going.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was rough that last time. But we made it for the morning class, and we had to leave here at like 4 a.m.
Yeah,
So
every
that was
time that
tough.
I've trained down there, it's been early in the morning, and we leave at like 4. So I'm like, you know, I don't get home till like 11 o'clock or something, and eat dinner and get in bed, and then to be up that early. I think
Yeah.
I definitely want to do a trip where I'm like able to go down there and stay for a couple days or something. You know.
Yeah, it's awesome down there, man. Obviously,
Yeah.
shout out to the B team boys. Y'all are the goats, man. They helped me a lot. Like I've learned so much from those guys there. Like especially from Chris, and from I've honestly learned a lot from Declan. Like he's taught a lot of the classes while I've been down there, and
Yeah.
he shows a lot of good stuff. A lot of like leg entanglement defense he was showing was like I still use all the time. So yeah. Them boys are good, man. Them boys are good. That's why
Yeah.
like UFC fighters are going to train there. You know,
Right.
They just had Mighty Mouse come in. That
I
was
saw
awesome.
that. Yeah. Yeah. He was like filming some type of documentary because I saw he was somewhere else in like Thailand or something with like what is that famous Muay Thai guy?
Rod Tang.
Yeah, he was with him and like working some stuff as well. So I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I was watching one of like the B team vlogs, and he was filming also, and he was explaining like this is what he was doing. So
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. Yeah, Mighty Mouse is definitely one of those like model martial artists. He's
Yeah.
like a GSP, you know.
well, I heard him talking about how uncomfortable he is training no-gi, and you think a guy that like had that many UFC title defenses and ONE FC title defenses that he would feel more confident in the no-gi, but like, you know, when you're watching him roll with these guys that are like pure no-gi, not MMA no-gi guys, they were just kind of like, you know, eating his lunch, really, you know.
Yeah. But I will say this this one thing. If the B team guys know you're good and you come in, they'll send the wolves at you like back to back to back. I've had to roll with like Damien and then Ethan, and then I rolled with Jay and I rolled with Nicky Rod. I'm like, dang, bro. Like I can't. I'm like trying to like crawl my way to where all the hobbyists are. Like,
Yeah.
does somebody want to roll? And then they just drag me back.
Yeah.
But that's how, obviously that's how you get good. So
Sure.
I love it. But imagine you're a guy who comes in first time and then you just get sent to the wolves, basically.
Yeah, the last time that we went, I was kind of like done rolling, and then Heisem asked me to roll, and like I'm like, okay, all right, I'll go, And right before I roll, JB says, watch out for the Harai Goshi, it's a career ender, and I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, is this guy going like full clip? So I just played like guard.
Yeah, you're like, all right, so that means my strategy is just pull guard.
And I don't like he was working something very specific, and I was not giving him the look that he wanted, So I could see like I wasn't like frustrating him in the sense of like I'm preventing him from doing what he wants, but it was like he was trying to get me to engage in his game, which was stand, and I'm like, no way, dude, no.
Absolutely not, dude.
No, I'm good.
I have made that mistake many times. Yeah, wrestling with Heisem is definitely an experience, unlike any other.
Yeah, I mean he's high level for sure. I mean if you fucking send it on Cyborg,
Oh yeah,
that's like one of the best highlights I think I've ever seen.
That was so crazy. Yeah, and the whole stadium just went ballistic.
Yeah,
it was
it's like
absolutely wild.
It's like you're doing it to like the evil villain of jiu-jitsu in a sense.
Yeah, he's like Lex Luthor, dude.
Yeah.
He looks like it.
Yeah.
He's Brazilian Lex Luthor.
Yeah, he sent it and then hit him with the armbar.
Yeah, that was a crazy highlight. Man, that's insane.
So there's a UFC event coming tomorrow night, right? So we've got it's a Dagestani guy, or is
it's Ankalaev and Pereira. Yeah,
I think it seems like a good matchup on paper as long as it doesn't hit the ground, right?
Yeah, and people have been I've seen online kind of almost like criticizing Pereira because they don't think he's training as hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, listen, this guy's definitely training hard.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's a martial artist through and through. Like, yeah, he's got a good team around him who's helping him like build his brand up, which is awesome. I mean, obviously, like his brand has skyrocketed in the past 5 years or however long he's been in the UFC. When he first like popped up on the scene, I already had knew about him because I looked up like who beat Adesanya. Like this guy is insanely good. And I watched this dude's kickboxing highlights, and I was like, this guy's different, bro. He's just different. And then I think he had already had a couple MMA fights at this point when I started watching. And then, yeah, I saw he like knocked this dude out with a left hook. And I was like, yeah, this guy's going to kill everybody in the UFC, basically. As long as, like, he doesn't fight a super heavy grappler.
Sure.
But then if you look at it, not really that many guys in that division are very strong on the grappling.
Yeah, no, not really.
And also who can deal with that, his physicality. Like, because, Adesanya and, like, Blachowicz were able to kind of, like, take him down. But he's just, like, such a big dude.
Yeah.
Like, trying to take him, his limbs are really long. So I'm sure trying to take him down is a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, if you get him against the cage, like you said, his legs are so long that he can hit a good split, and it's very difficult to suck his hips back underneath. It'll be an interesting fight. Who's like another person on that fight card that you have any idea?
Yeah, I was like, that main event right there is really all I looked at. But that's just Pereira's got kind of like that superstar power now, right? He's almost like McGregor, where you see McGregor on the card, you kind of forget about everybody else who's on it.
No, that's true. Yeah. What's like some of the big grappling events coming up?
Yeah, we've got CJI 2 is coming in August.
That's true, yeah.
That's the same weekend as Jiu-Jitsu Con. I just don't think Craig can help himself, man. He just loves to do it.
Was that like a planned as Jiu-Jitsu Con?
I'm pretty sure,
right,
dude.
yeah.
I think every move he makes is calculated.
Yeah.
Craig's a pretty smart guy, even though he's a troll. He's pretty smart. So
I mean, there'll be a bunch of people already there that weekend, right? So, and Jiu-Jitsu Con is an event that's typically held like up until like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. or something, and then
something like that.
So he could time it perfectly to where, you're able to get over to watch, a lot of the earlier fights possibly.
For sure, yeah. So that's like, obviously like the big one on people's mind. Man, I'm trying to think. I know we got some like ADCC opens like this year, like towards the end of the year is when trials will pick back up, and then going into next year there'll be another trials, and then
They haven't
ADCC.
they haven't officially listed though where like East Coast trials is going to be, right? They've just said Florida.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Florida and Texas, right?
Yeah, I don't know about Texas. Is it? They're gonna
I
make
want them to. Please, can you please have a? Listen, okay. New Jersey is a dump. Let's be straight up. Let's just lay the cards out here. Dump. Okay. Every time you go to East Coast trials, you're like, man, it smells like cigarettes in here. This is a dirty place. Like, it's not that necessarily like they're choosing it on purpose. It's just like, bro, you're in New Jersey. Yeah, this place is gonna be a dump.
Well, I wonder if they have it there because like Henzo has such a big presence in New York and New Jersey, you know, and Tom DeBlas was like running it right the last couple times.
Well, it's like Nogi Pans for a long time was in New York.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think like, man, New York and New Jersey are just such poorly run cities that that's hard to even like have events there because like, one, it's not safe in the surrounding area. Two, the inside of the place is filthy and not well maintained. So, hello, aha, did forget about the censor. But yeah, it's like, dude, we have great venues here and in Florida. Like Florida has that Silver Spurs Arena where they have gi pans.
Yeah.
And then, like, in Texas, we obviously have, like, Dickies, or we have, dude, you could go crazy. You could, Comerica Center, probably not for trials, but there's definitely some good venues around here that you could have a sick event at. So,
well, I feel like the best place for trials in Dallas would be that the Margaret Hunt Convention Center or whatever, K. Bailey Hutcherson, that's what it's called. Because they have, like, you've been to Europa, right?
Yeah.
And they've held some opens there, and the opens were good. But, like, trials is so much bigger. And the last couple times that we've been to the East Coast, it's like they cram everything in a room that is, like, designed for, like, a local Naga or something, you know?
Yeah,
like, it's just not enough room, man. And the weigh-ins, you know, that's probably, like, the worst experience I think I ever had because of there was no organization on the line, right? So it's like snaking around. So like where we're at, a bunch of those people just like cut in front of a bunch of the other ones that had been waiting in line for hours. So they got to do better. You know, I don't know how much money they bring in, but it's got to be enough to like hire people to organize it a little bit better, you know, like get 10 more people, you know?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Because, and also just like organize the weigh-ins a little better. Like just have a little bit more like uniformity because everybody is going to be hungry and pissed off. Okay. It's just how it is. I was definitely very hungry and pissed off for West Coast trials. I was like, please get me on this scale right now so I can rehydrate. And, it's like a mosh pit, you know, and they have like 5 or 6 scales, but you don't know where the line starts. You don't know shit. So you're like basically funneling into like where the line you think the line is pretty much. So
it's they definitely have to do better, you know. And I'm not like a huge fan of going to Vegas, but at least it's like they have a good venue, but it's just so expensive there, man. I think mainly I'm like complaining that I want it in Dallas so that I don't have to pay to travel somewhere. Like it's not that often that we get a major event here where we're not having to travel across the country. You know?
For sure. That's like Nogi Pans has been here for the past few years.
Yeah.
I remember American Nationals was here.
It was, yeah.
It was at Nitex though. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, that year I tried to hit as many as also because it was like, who knows when they're going to still be here. You know,
that was that right after that COVID year.
Yeah.
Like when everything started to open back up.
Yeah.
And really, there was only events in Texas and Florida, so it was a good time. You know, you're getting guys from all over the country traveling if they could.
Right.
So it was a good experience.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird time. Well, you know, lately here at the gyms, I know like we've been getting like a lot of people in coming from other gyms. You know, it's I posted a video the other night about like how many people were training, and it's crazy to see like how much steam we're picking up. I think that's like a direct correlation of like obviously, you know, how much a lot of you guys are competing, but also like it's a testament to like the programs that each instructor is kind of running here, you know.
Absolutely, dude. And we take some time and we really sit down and think about, and I assess daily, you know, and I know
Mhm.
the other coaches do too, where it's like, if we have to spend a little more time on a move, you know, maybe we have to go over it for like a few days or
Yeah.
weeks even. That's fine, you know.
Right.
But like once we get this down and we build that solid foundation, then we can
Mhm.
build on top. But right now it's like trying to build everybody's foundation up. So, you
Yeah.
know, this last month we were working a lot on the feet and just hand fighting, you know, getting
Mhm.
guys moving, using the Weldon drill. Everybody at Corvo should know the
Yeah.
Weldon drill now because I've made everybody do it basically.
Yeah, I've seen you guys doing that a lot.
But you can see like on the feet, people are moving a lot better. They're moving their feet. They're moving their partner around. So it's good. I can definitely see a big improvement. And like you said, dude, it's just a testament to hard work and putting together a program that
Yeah.
can work for the guy who just started
Mhm.
and the guy who's extremely advanced. You know, that's
Yeah.
that's one thing I think is like a good like mental challenge for me
Mhm.
is, okay, how can I approach this, like let's say a technique from guard where I give the lower belts stuff to work on for a longer period and then I give the higher belts something a little more specific.
Yeah.
You know, so that's like a good challenge, like a little brain teaser for me.
Yeah.
And it's really helped a lot, like build my game from the ground up, because you got to think like a white belt. Like,
Sure.
okay, if I was a fresh white belt, how would I want this? Like, explain to me.
Yeah.
And then just kind of work your way up the ladder there.
Yeah, I know for me, I'll have like a set thing that I want to do, and obviously you like assess the room before you even teach anything, you know. And if I feel like majority of the people are like at a mid level, I'll go ahead and teach the technique, and then I'll go around to the ones that I see having problems with it, and I like, okay, we're gonna like cut these steps out, and you guys are gonna focus on that only. And then you see the people that are more advanced, you're like, these are some variations that you can work from here, you know, see what else you can figure out.
Yeah.
I think just allowing people to have more creativity, and then like, you know, creating a simplified curriculum for the people that are beginners. That's how you teach everybody at once.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And that's stuff that really you only learn by like teaching consistently.
Yeah.
I think if you're not teaching consistently and you go and try to run a class, I know I used to do this when I was like early into teaching, but I basically just like information dump.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I give almost like too many options at once, and then it's too much clutter, and most people struggle with that. So I like try to clean up the clutter as much as I can. And that's really, again, only stuff that you learn by teaching consistently.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference to like be teaching consistently to like, you know, understand the moves better and then provide that information to the students. I can remember when I first became an instructor, I had like a hard time, you know, figuring out like how much is too much, right?
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. You got to gauge. And like you said, before the class even starts, you got to see like, okay, we got a lot of white and blues in here today. We got a couple of higher belts, but I can kind of like work with them and some more advanced stuff.
Let's take a break real quick. I'm going to make sure our camera is still working.
Yeah. So the other day, Instagram was just absolutely going crazy with the fight videos, and like I saw maybe more dead bodies in one day on Instagram than I've seen in like years. It was crazy. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. Like every other video I was getting on my For You page was like a police shooting or a stabbing or somebody getting beat up brutally or like a motorcycle accident. It's like, where did all this come from? You know, and but like with anything, like stuff like that, when stuff like that pops up on pretty much everybody's feed, I think it's a pretty eye-opening experience for a lot of people, because you know, your For You page is obviously tailored for you. So you if you're looking up a lot of like, I don't know, makeup videos or whatever you're into, it's gonna pop that up for you.
Yeah.
But everybody was seeing like the dark side of the internet here. Like everybody was getting it. So it's like it was a pretty eye-opening experience for a lot of people, I think, because that's how the world is, dude. This bad stuff like this happens every single day, you know.
Yeah, but like when you start getting inundated with it like that, I feel like you get a sense of like, damn, this is like constantly happening, which I guess it is, but like in our reality here, like, it's not every day we see somebody get murdered, right? I mean, I haven't ever seen anyone get murdered.
Yeah, me
hopefully,
either.
like I won't see that. But when you go online, like it's if you want to watch that, like it's there for sure.
Yeah, if you're seeking it out, that's one thing, right? But then when Instagram just like dumps it all onto your feed, it's like, whoa, this is a little more than I signed up for.
There used to be a website called LiveLeak.
I remember LiveLeak, dude. And that's as a kid who grew up. So my parents, are a little older, so they didn't really understand how to like restrict my internet access.
Yeah.
And I was like maybe a little bit of a mischievous kid, so I was like looking around on sites I probably shouldn't have. But I went on LiveLeak a couple times and then never again. It was too much for my little brain to handle.
Man, I think I first kind of like found out about LiveLeak of. I used to be on the Joe Rogan forum. Like he had a forum before the podcast. And that's where he first kind of like started putting his podcast on there. And there were people on there that would like share stuff from LiveLeak, and then you go down like a rabbit hole of like military videos and stuff.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah. Some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I thought those were always like the most interesting because they're, there'll be like an infrared video of some, insurgents. And they're like in a Black Hawk helicopter, and then you just see this guy open up a machine gun on them,
Yeah, and then the dude just gets deleted. Like you don't even see a person anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't even look real, Like I would imagine as being somebody that's in that position that it's, very similar to like playing a video game. You can be detached from it as opposed to like somebody that was an infantryman or, somebody has to kill someone hand to hand. Like I feel like those people would definitely have more trauma than somebody that is like dropping bombs out of a plane or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because you really unless you look at pictures afterwards, you don't even see like the real destruction like on a more like personal level. You just like you said, it's detachment, right? Mm-hmm. That's why every like era of combat, we've tried to get further and further away from the enemy. Mm-hmm. Like first it was swords. Then it was spears, and then it was like bow and arrow, and then crossbow. So we're just trying to get further and further away because it becomes less personal, And then you got obviously guns, right? You can, I guess a sniper is a little different because you're like so focused on this one target, and then when you take them out, you obviously see like you've been studying that person. Like any sniper will say like they don't just like pick a random target and then just shoot them. That's like they've been studying them for hours, days, like watching their patterns, seeing what they do, and then find that perfect shot. And it's like that's super personal, even though he's like really far away, but you're just watching him through that little scope all day.
Now it's even further though because they have those DARPA dogs, and they're like putting guns on those dogs and stuff. I saw one the other day where they had taken like one of those DARPA dogs, and they have this tentacle thing. It looks like a tentacle from an octopus, but it can like wrap and grab things. It can like open doorknobs with them. It can also like hold on to things. It can use it to like assist it to move in places and maintain balance.
That's crazy.
And I don't know if you've seen that Black Mirror episode where there's like one of those robot DARPA dogs. Like I don't know what happened, like hacked or something. But it had a gun on it, and it was like tracking down people and trying to murder them.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know if you saw the video recently in China where they had that like humanoid type robot, and it's like there's a crowd of people, and it goes to like attack them.
Yeah,
like what the heck?
People were on. So that video, I'm glad you brought that up because I saw online people were saying like it tripped over something because you can't see what like the feet are doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess it could look like it like tripped over something, but if we don't see its legs, it looks like it's going after this person who's on the front row.
Well, I've seen those DARPA robots where they'll like come up and they'll like kick it or they'll hit it with something and it like stumbles around and stuff. And maybe that was happening, but I feel like when I see them stumble, they like stumble forward and then they come backwards. And in this one, like somebody had to physically grab onto it. So either their like technology is crap, which is possibility because it is in China, or that robot was trying to murder people.
It's starting to become sentient.
And
then what's funny is if you keep watching the video, there's another robot that starts walking up behind them and is like looking and like assessing the situation. It's weird, dude. It's really weird because it looks human, like When you see people get into a fight or like an altercation, you come over and you kind of like assess the situation. That's how it looked.
Yeah.
It looked like it was like assessing what just happened.
Yeah, it's like that movie I, Robot.
Yeah.
It's gonna like assess and then take over.
Yeah, that's what we're moving towards, dude. Like sentient AI. But like all the AI experts, of course, they say, "Nah, dude, we can just turn it off, bro. We can just."
All
turn
of
it
them
off.
say that except for the smartest one, Elon. Elon thinks that it's going to take over.
It's gonna go too far, man.
Yeah,
it's gonna go too far.
I was listening to like a podcast the other day, and they were kind of talking about, and I tend to believe this somewhat too. Of like, obviously we've had like solar flares in the past, and they knock out technology. But he was kind of like saying that, evolution, we get to a point in time where everything is digital and we no longer have things written down, which is kind of where we're at right now, right? It's like most people don't have books. They have digital copies of books. And then the AI gets so powerful that it learns and, progresses. And then there's something that happens in history where either like a solar flare or technology gets to a point where it like resets itself. And then we're back into like the Middle Ages or something, where only the people that will be able to, hang on one second. All right. Sorry about that, guys. This is a heck of a podcast. It's like everything's going wrong. People showing up. You should have locked the door, but
I was about to say, you're talking about AI and technology and stuff, dude. They sent anthrax to you from Federal Express.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, the only people that at some point, if there is like a massive solar flare, it's going to be the people that have like learned, or the people that have like physical copies of books. But then if there's some like, nuclear explosion or something, those books are not going to exist. So
yeah,
yeah, it's a weird time, man. I feel like less and less people are actually like learning real skills that can provide, you the ability to live if something does happen, right?
Oh yeah, I think. You can see it. The kids who are graduating from school now. Like, dude, I'm not saying I was the smartest kid, but I at least had, like, critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
I could at least, my dad always taught me to question everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't just take one person's word for anything. Like, and it doesn't matter who that person is.
Mm-hmm.
It could be the president, dude. How many times has the president lied?
Yeah.
A lot.
Right.
And the older you get, the more you realize that. But I think they're just trying to keep people ignorant. You can even see, like, if you ask them a basic geography question, like, dude, this is where you're at. Like, you're on this planet somewhere, and you don't even know where you are, and you don't even know what's above you or below you. Like, oh, what's this country? And it's Canada, right? And they're like, China. Dude, are you kidding, bro?
Yeah, there's definitely people that are not as intelligent these days. But I think it all goes back to, like, people are reading less, or they're, like, digging less deep into stuff online. Because, even if it's not a book, you can still learn online, right? Even if you're watching videos, you can still gain knowledge. But there's like more people just watching videos, like you're saying, of people being murdered or beat up, and
or just shit that will
or dance videos.
TikTok dancing videos, dude. But that's it's like to try to keep people ignorant, to try to keep them in like. It's almost like you form your own bubble online.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is so personalized now that you get lost, and it's like this whole bubble. I know there's this thing called VR chat. I'm sure your kids probably have mentioned this at some point, but it's like a popular thing for kids now. But it's almost like, think about like Discord, where you can like enter into like this kind of lobby of people.
Yeah.
And there is some weirdos on VR chat. Weirdos. Because now it's like virtual reality. So they have their avatar.
Right.
And they're like in this, like us right now, but it would be all virtual. And we'd be different avatars. Like a lot of them are like furries and stuff. So they can exist in this almost like alternate reality where they won't be judged. And they like can just kind of do what they want. But it gets really, really weird. There's some like, trolls online or whatever that'll go to these lobbies and just troll these people, and you see how like mentally unstable they are. Like,
and that's a wrap for today's Kings of Kimuras episode. Thanks for joining us on this epic journey. Remember to keep training, stay curious, And always be ready for the next adventure. Until next time, keep your guards up and your minds open.